this week's edition of Panther Pride. I'm Mickey Shadricks, joined by Wellborn head coach Jeff Smith. Last week, Coach, you opened region play with a tough as they get loss, overtime loss to a very good Glencoe team. Drops you to 1-1, but I know the most important thing, it's your region opener. You start off 0-1 in the region, but still a lot of football left to play. Let's talk about the game last week. I know this is one of those games that kind of sticks with you for a while. Talk about the overtime loss to Glencoe.
Well, it hurts because the players played so hard and gave so much of themselves in the game. And it's hard to be upset with them, you know, when they put so much effort and put so much into a game like they did. The thing that we're going through right now is, you know, going down in that locker room after the game, you know, and knowing how much hard that they played and everything. You know, that's a tough thing as a coach to have to do. That's probably the worst. Well, that is the worst thing you have to do is when you see the players give all, and then you have to go in there and see them after the game and see their faces, how disappointed they are when they don't come up on on the winning end. But you know, they played so hard, and we had our chances to win the game. We really played well. We actually outplayed them. We just didn't get the point on the scoreboard.
Oh, talk about the fact that I know how you run your program at Wellborn, and these are character building opportunities for you, I know, because you put all this time and effort and energy into the game. You come up empty, all for an unknown.
Right.
But there's a lot more football left to be played. Talk about how your team can build off of this and be stronger as the season goes on.
Well, it's definitely a lot of things to learn from. You know, and we're going to take that. We're going to bring the kids in Monday morning. It's going to be Labor Day, and we're going to review this film, start looking at Pleasant Valley, and regroup and correct our mistakes that we've made, and get back and start working on our fundamentals. A lot of times when you play in big games, especially the last two games we've been so big, that sometimes the effort is great, but you start breaking down fundamentally, and we got to get back and do some things right fundamentally, and get ready for our next opponent.
All right, we've got all the highlights coming up for you from a great game between Wellborn and Glencoe. We'll be back with first half highlights in just a moment. And welcome back to Panther Pride. Head out to the Hill last Friday night. Panthers at home for the second week in a row, playing host to Glencoe in their 3A Region 6 opener. Coach, another great atmosphere for high school football.
They don't get any better than playing at home at Wellborn. I mean, on the Hill, we always have great crowds. We have a great following, and they really support the team and get behind them. Here you saw a good fake right there that Jordan Montgomery made right there, and Patrick Harris ran the ball down right there, and I think we actually turned the ball over. Jake Thrasher made a good solid tackle right there to start the game off with us. They attempted a pass here, and we had it covered up. Now we get the ball back right here. You see Jordan getting some hard yardage, but you see that number 10 from Glencoe making a lot of plays. We had a ball that got tipped up, and their kid made a good play, and they ran it back, and they got the first score of the night. But you know, it showed a lot of the character of our players here, because they're going to kick off to us, and then we're going to drive the ball down and score and even the game back up. You know, we only played once the entire game, and you know, we had a lot of success moving the football against them. Here, the first quarter ends at 7-0 right here, and then we're going to score here shortly thereafter. Here, DJ makes a good run and just wheels himself into the end zone there, and broke 2 tackles to get in. So it's this tense game, as you can tell us on the sideline. And here, Jamar Curry makes a good stick. I mean, comes out, misses a tackle, and so does Pat. But we have guys running to the football, getting over there and making tackles. You see Jordan come up, makes a big hit right there for us. Jake again on the ball. Jake Thrasher's a ball hawk. He gets to the football, and he's going to make a lot of tackles. They score now. It's 14-7. We're coming back here, and here we may have a good little run right here. Again, it's just one step away from breaking. Here you see Pat Harris coming at us right there with another good run. But again, number 10's on the play. Here Jordan makes another good run. If you can see, number 10 makes a tackle on it. We charted 61. We had 61 offensive snaps, and Jordan scores on a touchdown pass. and evens the game up 14-14. But what I was saying is we had 61 offensive snaps, and we got number 30 making 30 of the tackles. I mean, number 10 making 30 of the tackles. Here's number 10 again, on a kickoff return. That was Coach Osmond's son, Pace Osmond. He really played well against us. This is their quarterback here. You see Austin Tucker make a good tackle on him. They run this little bend play that they had right there, but we keep our leverage right there, and Pat makes a good tackle, and of course Jordan's right there on the ball. Here they're going to attempt to pass here, and they hit us on a hot pass. And I mean, it's just a slugfest right now. I mean, when we miss a tackle there, they score. Now they're up 21-14 at the time.
And that'll take us to our halftime score. Glencoe 21, Welborn 14. And Coach, just watching those first half highlights, as we expected, this was a physical, old school type of football game. Two really good, well-coached teams just going head-to-head here.
Well, and you see a lot of contact. Glencoe, the strength of them is their size. They're big and they're strong. And when you go to tackle them, you got to really tackle them to get them down. And then same thing with their offensive defensive lines. They got some big guys there, and you can't let them get their hands on you. You got to fight off the blocks, and then when they're on defense, you're going to have to stay low, and you're going to have to move your feet to get them out of there because of their size and their strength that they have.
Down by 7 at halftime. What are you thinking? What was your message in the locker room?
Well, we went down there and regrouped. Okay, we made a few defensive adjustments, and then we went back and went over some plays that helped us. Going into the game, we expected them to be an odd man front on defense, and they came out in an even man front on defense. So, that's people don't understand that is right then we have to go to right now plan B as far as play calling and running different plays that we'd worked on all week. Now we've got to change our pace, and there's stuff that we do against an even man front that we don't do against an odd man front. But we were able to do that. That worked well. I mean, we moved, like I said, we didn't punt but one time the entire game. That was after a penalty that we got in the second half.
How much does that affect your blocking scheme?
Oh, everything. There's, you're going from head-up techniques to gap techniques. So then you have to, it changes everybody's angles, and this will work against an odd man front, but this won't work against an even man front. But now our kids adjusted real well on the fly, and we were able to move the football and score.
All right, very good. First half, 21-14, Glencoe in the lead, and those defensive adjustments must have worked, Coach, because Welborn pitches a shutout in the second half, as you will see. Second half highlights coming up here on Panther Pride.
Let's go, DJ. Stay in your lane.
And back on Panther Pride, heading to the second half. Glencoe leading Welborn 21-14. Coach, your defense would play well. Held them scoreless in the second half. And you'd also have a little power outage. A little bit of everything. The excitement continued.
It's exactly right. It's going to be a fun second half. If you see, we started the game off and we kicked the ball on the ground, to keep it from number 10. And again, our adjustments we made at halftime worked well. And it goes back. We've got a good coaching staff, and our staff works real well with each other. And we were able to get out there and get a stop, and then Kane Pitts ripped the ball loose, and we got the ball back, and then DJ breaks a good run right here and gets the ball down inside the 5-yard line for us. Again, here we come right here. Jordan Montgomery finishes it off, gets the ball in the end zone, and the offensive line did a good job blocking on both of those plays right there and helping them backs get loose. Now here they come running the ball down the field and power. They went to power. So we're in the middle of the third quarter, and it scores 21 all, 5 minutes, 23 seconds to go, and the power goes out. Now, so we went inside, we came back in, they got three of the poles going. You can see it's a little darker now, but we were able to come out there after the break right here, and we had a big stop, and we held them and ended up, they're having to turn the ball over to us. So we skipped our offensive series here. They've got the ball back, and you see how hard we're running to the football, making plays. The quarterback play that they had was really good, but again, we held him at bay pretty good. You see we're on that dark end. That's on the 2-yard line. We're playing goal line defense, and they mishandled the handoff right there, and we get the football on the 2-yard line.
Big turnover there.
Huge turnover right here, and I tell you what a drive we make here. we go from the 2-yard line and we're driving it down the field right here. This is the last drive of the regular time of the game. Like a big catch right here to DJ right here on 25 billion throwback. That was the second time in 2 games right there that DJ sent a play open right there and came back and told us, and we were able to hit it and connect on it. Again, we're having a good run here, getting it lined up here, and we just missed a field goal right there. And hey, that happens. I told Jordan, after the game, we wouldn't have been down there without his effort. So it happens. We're in overtime now, and have a incomplete pass. This is 3rd down here. The receiver, again, number 10, he makes a great play right there and catches the ball right there on the goal line and scores. Here we are now, we're driving. And made a kick there at point, made it 28-21 this time. Here we go. Bounced the play outside and scored. All right, now we're going to kick our extra point and tie it up. We have a bad snap right here and just wasn't able to get the ball out there. And they picked it off right there, and that's the way the game ended, 28-27. It's a tough loss. It is, and it's tough to put so much into something and to come up on the short end of it. And that goes for our players and our coaches. I mean, after we got the players out of there, we was upstairs, and we always grade the film and do all the awards and stuff after the game on Friday. And it was just, everybody was just silent. I mean, because the coaches and players had invested so much in the week.
It is a roller coaster ride.
Oh, it
Your
is.
first week, the big win over Sachs at home, turn around and suffer and both of those games could have gone either way.
Either way, you sure could. But now, and this is what we're going to have to do. Just like we had to get over the win last week for Sachs, now we got to get over this loss for Glencoe. Now we got to get ready for the rest of the season because we still got 7 games left to play, and determine on how we do these next 7 games will determine, if we make the playoffs, what spot we'll have in the playoffs, and where we go from there.
Well, a lot of great individual efforts in this game, Coach. Let's go ahead and take a look at your weekly individual player awards this week.
As you see them come up here, if it's and have them on the screen for us, I think.
We'll get those here in just a moment, and then you can walk through. And I know you give these awards out each week, and here we go with this week's award.
Well, the scrambler goes to our best offensive line and tight end blocking performance, and it goes to Jake Thrasher. Pancake block, we had a couple of those right there, but DJ Roden had the best one. Our racehorse was DJ Roden, had over 100 yards rushing. Meanest Panther goes to our best defensive back and outside linebacker performance, and it was Jordan Montgomery. The Big Hog Award goes to our best defensive line and inside linebacker performance, and that went to Jake Thrasher. The hardest hit, again, there was a lot of hard hits, but the best one we saw was from DJ Roden. Headhunter goes to the guy that makes the most tackles, and it's Jake Thrasher. 12th Man Award goes to the best special team performance, and it was Jordan Montgomery. The Offensive Player of the Week this week was DJ Roden, and the Defensive Player of the Week was Jake Thrasher. Last week when we didn't do it, the Offensive Player of the Week was DJ Roden against Sachs, and the Defensive Player of the Week was Jordan Montgomery.
Coach, before we wrap up this segment, I know even though you lost, I know you're going to break down the film and look at a lot of different things with the team. Did you see some improvement between the Sachs game and the
yes. Look, from we had an inter-squad scrimmage, and then we had our fall jamboree with Lincoln, and then we had our first ball game with Sachs, and then we had our our first region game with Glencoe. We've improved all 4 weeks. Now we've got to just keep doing that. Now the last 2 years, we've been able to do that. We've been able to peak at the end of the season instead of early in the season. And the good thing is how hard we played the last 2 weeks. We're still not at our best yet, and we feel good about that. Also this week, we've got a player, Quindarius Morris, a senior, who has not been able to be with us and should get cleared this week and be back with us right there. And he should be able to help us too. He's the fastest guy on our team and hasn't been able to play yet. So that too will give us a spark.
All right. Well, we've got a special treat coming up for you as we'll be joined right here on the set with 3 Wellborn players who are on that list for the individual player awards. That and much more coming up next here on Panther Pride. And welcome back to Panther Pride, and really excited to be joined now by 3 key Wellborn players who played a huge part in both games so far this season for the Panthers. First of all, to my immediate right is Jake Thrasher, in the middle, DJ Roden, then to my far right, Jordan Montgomery. And guys, appreciate you coming in. I know it's tough after a loss, especially the way the game went down last Friday. Jake, let me start with you. Just talk about the game and how tough it is to lose a game like that.
It's very tough to lose a game like that. How we work so hard in practice, and then it just all comes to an end.
DJ?
It's real depressing. I mean, to lose by 1 point is hard. And then we went into overtime, just had a bad snap. We was another field goal away from having double overtime and having another chance to win the game, so it was real depressing.
And Jordan, you really symbolized the roller coaster ride in the first 2 weeks. You made the big interception in the end zone to seal the win against Sachs, and then turn around and lose week 2. Talk about how it's been for you dealing with a loss.
It's been tough. Me and my teammates, we just have to regroup. We just have to go back to the next week and just have to get ready for Pleasant Valley. We can't just be stuck on one game. We have to move on because there's more games in the season.
Let's talk a little bit about the Welborn program. You three guys really symbolize, I think, what Coach Smith has been able to do at Welborn the last few years, is really turn the program around. It's consistently winning now. Jake, again, we'll start with you. Talk about what it's like playing now Welborn football. I know a lot of you guys have been around the Welborn community. Your families have. I'm sure you're proud to be a part of that winning tradition being back at Welborn.
Sir, it goes from having 20 people in the stands to having more than 200 in the stands. It's great.
DJ, you're a big part of the success of the program the last few years as well. Talk about what it's like being a Welborn Panther.
Oh, it's great. I mean, you got to be tough and you're going to have a good attitude, but in the end, on Friday nights, it's all worth it.
Jordan?
Yes, sir. I'm proud to be a Welborn Panther. This community, all these teachers, these fans, we're just all in it. We're just one big family, and it's great.
All right, last thing before we let you guys go. Coach mentioned a minute ago, I thought he summed it up real well when he said, just like you had to get over the Sachs win, now you have to get over the Glencoe loss. Still a lot of football left to be played. Talk about where you see this team going from here, Jake.
We just got to get back Monday at practice and work hard. The future will come.
DJ, got to put this one behind you, don't you?
Yes, sir. I feel like we'll be okay. I feel like we're going to hit the rest of the season running. We're going to play the rest of these region games and hopefully win them all. And hopefully we'll see them again in the playoffs.
Well, you know, Jordan, the best way to get rid of that bitter loss taste in your mouth is to get a win. You've got that chance this Friday night. Talk about the rest of the season.
Yes, sir. We just got to go back to practice, and we got to work on the fundamentals. We just have to regroup. We have to get ready for the upcoming games, and we just have to go and grind. We have to get ready for everything that's coming up this season. We just really got to play hard. We got to keep playing us. We just got to keep going out there on that field Friday night. We just got to keep competing.
I tell you, 3 great young men here this morning, and I know it's tough after a loss to come in. You represent your school and this football team extremely well, the way you play on the field and obviously the way you carry yourselves off the field. And we look forward to talking with you again as the weeks roll on here on Panther Pride, and good luck on Friday night.
Thank you.
All right, we'll take a break, come back with more as we look ahead to this week's region matchup with Pleasant Valley as Coach Smith will rejoin me here in Panther Pride. And we're back on the show. Coach Smith rejoining me now. Coach, before we look ahead to this week's region matchup, I just got to get your thoughts on the 3 young men who just joined us, Jake Thrasher, DJ Roden, and Jordan Montgomery. I know you're proud to have players like that playing for you.
Very much. You know, and Jake and DJ have been with us since the 7th grade, so they've been playing for 6 straight years for us. And Jordan started with us when he was an 8th grader, and he's been with us now, I think, going into his 4th year. And you know, they just represent our team and our school and community so well. And we've got a lot of them like that. I tell you, we've got a very enjoyable locker room with a lot of fine young men on it, and I think that's you know, that's a base of our success. You know, we can talk about programs and everything you want to. A good program has got good people in it, and we've got a lot of them.
And I know you won't say it, but I will. It starts with you and trickles down. All right, let's take a look at this week's matchup. Coach, again, the best way to get rid of the bad taste of that loss last week is to win the next game, and this is your challenge this week as you take on Pleasant Valley, your first road game of the season. Again, a region matchup. Talk about the Raiders. I know they're 0-2, but talk about what the challenges they present for your team this week.
Well, I mean, they're getting their program started. I don't think the challenge is going to be whoever the next opponent is as much as it is going to be us. Mm-hmm. We've got to go out there Monday and we've got to get us back right. And you know, we're going to go out there and we're going to focus on, you know, our fundamentals, get back to doing some fundamental things and have a good practice Monday. And then, you know, they'll have the afternoon off because we're not in school. And then, you know, Tuesday we got to come back out there and have another good fundamental day, and then, you know, then start putting all our team stuff together on Wednesday and Thursday, you know, for the game. You know, Pleasant Valley, they're getting their program back started. You know, they've got a new coach, Coach Nix. I think he's going to do a good job there. You know, he's going through some first-year growing pains, which we all have had to do. And, you know, I think that that'll be their first home game, and I think they're going to play real hard. And it's going to be you know, they're going to give us all they got. And but you know, regardless if it was Pleasant Valley or whoever it is the next week, what we've got to do after these 2 weeks that we've had is we got to get back to ourselves and doing what the right things, and you know, just reinforcing all our fundamentals and techniques.
Well, it's been an exciting opening to the season. The thrilling win over Sachs, the heartbreaking loss to Glencoe. Coach, best of luck to you this Friday night against Pleasant Valley. And we'll be back with you again next week for all the highlights right here on Panther Pride.